All right, boys, we got the part 2 of the CoffeeZilla thing. The dark side of Counter-Strike 2. Which dark side? The gambling or the cheating? I don't know. It's like, which one's darker? I don't know. They're both pretty dark. Okay, here we go.
They have made millions and millions of euros. I'm going to be delivering justice to these motherfuckers.
I get told that they had posted flyers everywhere in my city. And I mean everywhere. High schools, malls.
They need to go in, even if there's a security guard, even if they're gonna be taken away. If somebody goes home walking, they will be fired.
They sent 18 people outside my door having a quote-unquote protest.
We are having war with other sites as well. Most of the CSGO gambling sites are scams.
I want to know who's really behind this thing. Who's really
Oh,
the
wait.
victims.
He said most of the CSGO sites are scams. So does that imply that there are a couple that are not scams? How is gambling not a scam? Explain that to me.
And who's really the villain?
Episode 2, exposing the ugly world of skin gambling. Gambling on skins. This shit is so good.
We got bribed, but instead of taking it, we exposed the people who offered it. Now it's time to expose the rest of the Counter-Strike gambling industry and the influencers who promote it for millions a year. Let's start with the basics of what Counter-Strike gambling really is, though.
Yes,
Counter-Strike
dude.
is a first-person shooter video game where you can buy cosmetic options for your guns called...
Well, do you really buy them, or do you buy loot boxes and then get them randomly out of the loot boxes? I think that's how it goes. Every other type of game, you can just outright buy the skins. The skins are very high price and nobody's happy about it for the most part. But hey, I don't value skins anymore. Like I used to. It's not like I was above this when I was a kid. Of course I was into this shit when I was a little kid. I don't want to be a no skin Andy. I don't want to look like a default Andy. I gotta have a skin. I got a style on somebody. Now as an adult, I could care fucking less.
skins. You can get these by paying $2.50 to open a loot box. It spins like a slot machine, and you get a random skin. There's an entire economy that's grown out of their rarity, and you can sell these skins for pennies or up to tens of thousands of dollars depending on their rarity. You can then take those skins to Counter-Strike casinos where they will be accepted as currency instead of cash. They use their real-world value to turn this video game into Vegas. You can play slots, roulette, and...
What real-world value, though? Explain that to me. How do we get real-world value from ones and zeros? I'll give you a minute.
more, all with a video game skin. Think of it like their version of poker chips. And when I first began to investigate...
A poker chip has no intrinsic value. It is the implied value given to it by the gambling organization. But if you take that poker chip outside of that organization, it has no value.
This, I thought, why don't people just use a regular casino? You know, why use Counter-Strike skins for this? Well, I decided to investigate by interviewing a bunch of people who do use Counter-Strike casinos, and I found a disturbing trend.
I've been in the gambling community in Counter-Strike for about, I'd say since 12 years old.
I started gambling on Counter-Strike when I was probably 13 years old.
12, 13.
13 years old. 14 years
13,
old.
14.
I think it was 14.
14.
Started gambling on CSGO at the age of 12 and 13, pretty much right around there, my 13th birthday.
Jesus.
Yeah, most of the people I spoke to started gambling underage, and it was while they were
Under 18, I'm assuming.
playing the game. And this trend continues beyond the anecdotal. This YouTuber named Jeff surveyed over 9,000 players, and
Holy shit. How old were you when you first started gambling? I never... Okay. Wait. Did my thing not pause? I am so sorry for that. Fuck. Okay. How old were you when you first started gambling? What's the most? Right here, dark green, 16. And then, this yellow one, 15, 15, 16. This is a red one, 14. Ooh, 13. That's a big one. It's like 13 to 16 is just massive. 13, 14, 15. That's 3 years, dude. Purple, 17, 18. Oh my God, I'm gambling age now. 19. What, 20? I never gambled in CSGO before.
He found that around 70% of Counter-Strike gamblers start underage. Now,
Yeah.
themed casinos have always had an audience, but with Counter-Strike, there is an underage gateway to all of this because all you need is $2.50 to get your first skin through Valve, and you don't even need to show ID, which is a huge part of this. Even worse, when you go from the game to the casinos, which are hosted on third-party websites, most don't ID the players either.
I just check the box that says I'm 18, and then I'm good. I agree to Hellcase terms of service and privacy policy. I am 18.
Or if they do, it's only after you've already gambled thousands of dollars, which is a bit like if a liquor store asked for ID after you drank 10 bottles of liquor. It's obviously absurd, but it's also very profitable because underage gamblers not only are new customers, they're way more likely to become gambling addicts, which is how casinos make most of their money.
Oh, yeah.
These days, most physical casinos have a strict ID policy at the door. This isn't because they're good people, it's because they're heavily regulated and would lose their gambling license if they knowingly allowed underage players. But
yeah, like all of this would be fine. All this Counter-Strike gambling and like whatnot, this would be 100% fine if Valve or Counter-Strike or whoever the fuck just demanded some sort of ID. This would all go away. But also, a lot of the money would go away too, and they don't want that.
Counter-Strike gambling is fundamentally different. Regulation for these casinos is almost non-existent because they're offshore in Malta, Curacao, Cyprus, and most of them are using loopholes to pretend that this isn't even gambling at all. Look, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because different casinos use different loopholes, but suffice to say, this has been going on a long time. Back in 2016, a very similar story broke in a big way about scam casinos and underage gambling.
Oh yeah, T. Martin. Yep, he was a scammer, skin betting, children as young as 11 introduced to gambling
Problems in Counter-Strike, and everyone was understandably enraged. Valve even got involved, had to send out cease and desist letters. Even the FTC went after influencers, but when the dust settled, there weren't that many consequences. Part of the reason was because of these loopholes. In fact, the most infamous
god dang loopholes. God dang it. CSGO Lotto's lawyer says it was never a gambling site, and here's why. Customers could have played for free, and all they had to do was read the fine print.
Casino, CSGO Lotto, claimed not even to be a casino at all. They said they were a sweepstakes. Now, this is obviously absurd. It's not true, but none of that matters because it...
Sweepstakes. Sweepstakes. Define. A form of gambling. Oh, it's not gambling. It's a form of gambling, especially on horse races in which all the stakes are divided among the winners. A race on which money is bet and divided among the winners. Promotional drawing. Wait, so gambling is like happens on an individual basis. And one person could take all the money versus the sweepstakes where you have like winners and the winnings are divided amongst many people. Is that what I'm getting? I don't know. Promotional drawing in which prizes are given away at no charge. Oh. Promotional drawing at which prizes are given away at no charge to the participants. What is the meaning of a sweepstakes? Type of contest where a prize or prizes may be awarded to a winner or winners. Sweepstakes began as a form of lottery that were tied to products sold. So what? They're trading in guns, but guns or gun skins that the gun skin is not a form of currency, but the website associates a form of currency to it, but it's not directly a form of currency. So it's literally just like 1 or 2 degrees of separation from not being a loophole. Why can't we just fix this? Like, what are we doing? This is why people hate the government, because they can't fucking see what's right in front of them.
It got them out of trouble. And so the same types of casinos have continued, just with new owners and new names. What you're left with then is an industry that is unregulated, if anything, self-regulated, which I discovered creates its own race to the bottom problem. Because consumer protection in an unregulated market will literally drive away your customers. For example, remember Monarch from the last video?
I remember.
His casino CSGO empire. One of the things they do that I actually think is good is they block certain IPs where gambling is illegal. And they admit that what they're doing is gambling. Now, you can easily get around these geo restrictions with a VPN, but it's sort of an extra hurdle. Most Counter-Strike casinos don't even do this. And listen to one gambler explain why this tiny decision to just geo-block one region, the US, affected who he chose to gamble with.
So when I went onto Empire, while it's still easy to bypass it, you can just put a VPN, just takes an extra 5 minutes. CSGO roll, I can just, once again, type it into my browser. Deposits.
Oh, you're an American.
Yes, correct. Yes.
So no VPN restriction.
This is kind of funny and kind of revealing. Is like, if you're an American, the chances of you using a certain gambling site are either increased or decreased because of the regulations that go along with your country. Versus you being like, if your home is in Europe, you'll probably like, I don't know, like if you're American, you'll probably use Roll, or if you're in Europe, you'll probably use Empire. But the services are available to everybody around the world, but it's just like the chances of you being more likely to use one or the other is just simply based on where you live, which is also based on how popular Counter-Strike is in certain countries. So like it would stand to reason that if it, like, let's say Counter-Strike is super popular in America, it would stand to reason that since it's popular in America, people are going to want to gamble on the gambling site that it's easiest to get into and available in America.
No geo-blocking.
Yes, correct. So on Roll, 0 VPN blocking, 0 any bypassing. On Empire, there is blocking, but it truthfully is very easy to bypass.
Right. That makes sense. Most people end up going with the casino who asks them less questions, requires less from you. Even if you're not illegally trying to gamble, you just don't want to have to put in personal information, anything like that. This all taught me that in the world of unregulated gambling, it's more complicated than just saying, okay, casinos want toddlers gambling. It's also market dynamics, right? You get a competitive edge by not regulating. Less work, more customers, more money, which means you can't just solve the problem by wagging your finger at bad casinos. The entire system is broken. As long as these loopholes exist, why would anyone change? In fact, some websites like Clash.gg even advertise their lack of regulation as a feature, not a bug.
Wow.
The CEO even bragged on Twitter, quote, Clash just paid out its biggest one-time cash out instantly with no verification.
Cash out of around 250,000 coins. How much is a fucking coin, dude? Instantly with no verification. The user got the money within 5 minutes with zero hassle. Couldn't be more happy with the product and reputation we are building. So if this is on X, 20K views, you could probably guess how many hearts did this get. Maybe like 100 or so, which isn't a lot. Probably not a lot of engagement. I mean, this is the views. This is like nothing.
Couldn't be more happy with the product and reputation we are building. This guy sees it as a badge of honor to do no checks. And it is a positive reputation if you want to appeal to underage players, money launderers, or just people who want to avoid a hassle, a VPN and putting in an ID. And this is all a huge problem. But how big of a problem is it, you might wonder? After all, we're talking about video game skins. How much money could this industry really be worth? I wondered the same thing.
Enough.
So I asked around for how much these casinos are making and got several estimates. One owner claims he has an 8-figure business, and someone who works for his partner claims that is true. How much does he make on Clash?
His partner, Boris, right, also known as Dogs Playing Poker, Friendly Chemist, he told me directly that it was making about $50 million a month.
That's a lot of money. And
it also benefits these guys to gas up their numbers more so because it gives the illusion. I mean, it goes back to the whole FOMO thing. Fear of missing out. We're paying out $50 million worth of winnings every day. Everybody's a winner over here. The business is booming. It's like why it's the whole concept of people want to be where the popular thing is happening. People want to play the popular game. People want to watch the popular streamer. This is why the whole like streamers view bot and whatnot because it creates this fake illusion of, ooh, this is the cool place to be at. Let me go click on that stream. Oh, this is the amount of money that our business is paying out. Ooh, we're paying out millions of dollars. You guys should be a part of this too. Of course. Who knows if that's an actual like real number? Probably not.
this roughly matches what the popular gambling Counter-Strike YouTuber told me as well, saying he'd estimate these sites are making tens of millions monthly. And there are so many of these sites that the YouTuber Jeff estimated it all in a different way, looking at the total amount of website traffic compared to a popular online casino.
So when you bring them together, those CSGO websites bring almost double the traffic of the biggest online casino today. And this online casino declared a gross revenue of 2.6 billion in 2022. Now, that doesn't mean the CSGO websites are grossing more.
Bro, how many? You could make like 4 or 5. You can make like 4 Concords with that.
But it's a great element to put things in perspective.
So even though it's tough getting an exact number, since these casinos might overestimate or underestimate for many reasons, either way, it's clear these businesses are making huge amounts of money. And there's many of these casinos. We've just focused on a few in our videos, but there's so many more of these websites, each potentially making millions a month. And no one's going to change their behavior until they're incentivized to.
I don't know why. I just noticed this right now. But this is fake Steam. I don't know why. I just had to point that out. It looks good though.
By regulation across the board. Until then, less regulation will always mean a wider customer base, even if some of those customers are underage. The irony here being the biggest voice of change so far really has been Monarch. From the last video, you guys know I am no fan of this guy's methods, but I'll be honest, there's large parts of his public arguments that are hard to argue with. He claims to understand the underage problem because that's how he started as well.
How I got into gambling myself was when I was 13 and I was playing RuneScape, and how the duel arena was like a gateway drug for me. That's how gambling started for me.
Oh, your stake versus this guy's? Okay. Wait, so does it all go back to RuneScape? Gambling?
For me, and that's where it went into third-party sites.
Yeah, but that's like the concept of gambling. You're just gambling with like in-game currency, which has like doesn't translate to any real-world value at all.
I'm just disgusted about this whole loop. I think that the whole case system on Steam is pretty horrible. The way how there is no KYC, it's such a powerful tool for getting children and even adults. I think even adults, they have a gambling problem. It's not only like it's not a age exclusive thing.
Yes, that is true, but you have to also acknowledge the chances of, let's say you take like a teenager versus an adult like let's say someone in their 30s, which one is probably going to develop a gambling addiction or has a more likely chance of developing a gambling addiction? The teenager or the adult? Well, it's the teenager because what was this? Was it this video or the last video? We saw that pie chart of like what was it? When did you first start getting into Counter-Strike gambling? And it was all like 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. I mean, all these guys probably have the demographics on their entire customer base. They do. And he just says, oh, it's not an age exclusive thing to have a gambling problem. Well, yeah, you're right. But who's more likely to start? The one whose brain isn't developed and doesn't know better, or the one that does know better?
It's just a machine that makes people gamble. Imagine there's a kid who just plays CSGO and they open one box. Pretty innocent. They get their mom's credit card. They spend €2 to open a box. Okay, then they open a second box, third box, fourth box, and so on. Jesus. And soon they see their favorite influencer playing on some
Thank God I never got into Counter-Strike. Bro, if I did, I probably would have been a victim too, to be honest. I mean, shit, I was a complete bonehead when I was playing Apex Legends, for Christ's sake. I don't know how much money I spent on that fucking shit. Probably like a couple thousand on stupid ass heirlooms and shit. I probably would have spent more if they were all like, well, I mean, well, it's kind of like gambling in that one. It's like every 500 cases, the pity timer kicks in, you get an heirloom. Like, Jesus Christ. Fuck, I couldn't imagine me getting in a Counter-Strike.
Third-party case opening site. And this is where it's like switching from weed straight to, I don't know, amphetamine or something. And they just go deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole, and soon they are addicted. And then
this is why you should not value skins and cosmetics in games. It's extremely hard to explain that to someone, especially like a video game person, because the entire industry is like, well, why do you play games? Well, because it gives me dopamine. I like exploring. I like figuring things out. I like the rush of playing a game. And also, I like the rewards of playing the game, too. I do the thing. I do the challenge. I get the reward. I get the gun skin. I get the title, so on and so forth. I get the better weapon. I get the thing that looks cooler. You are literally conditioned to want the cooler looking thing in all of video games.
Next thing you know, when they want to stop gambling,
they can't.
It's easy to just close these websites. But what happens when you go on social media? You go on YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, any platform. What do you get? You get gambling ads everywhere. The algorithm starts feeding you. It's like, imagine you are addicted to heroin, and then everywhere you go, you just see like heroin, heroin here.
Yep. Thank you, social media, for fueling my addiction that I tried to stop.
Look, your hero is taking heroin.
So we have to separate these two things out. Yes, this guy's methods are terrible, but I'll admit, it's nice to see a casino owner talking honestly about their industry and admitting that what it is gambling and not some kind of sweepstakes.
Sweepstakes.
But even if Monarch says he wants to change, without the actual power of a regulator, he just ends up having to harass people, threaten people, which isn't going to get him anywhere.
Whoever breaks into Grimm's Minecraft server house first on film gets 2K.
Not only that, he's no saint either. His own website doesn't ID people right away. According to CSGO's Empire's terms, they only require you to verify your age if you want to withdraw more than 2,000 coins in crypto or deposit substantial amounts of money. If you withdraw via skins, there is no limit. So even the guy who claims he started underage gambling, he understands the gateway drug that skin betting websites act as. Even he refuses to fully ID customers because he knows he'd go out of business.
I'm really committed to, I want to make it stricter and stricter. Like, you can't jump to the...
Okay, this is a hypocritical take. you can't say that you want to make it stricter, but you're still allowing people to engage in your business and not ID them. This is literally the definition of a hypocrite.
Deep end, just like immediately on one day, that would make us go out of business. But really, my end goal is I want to do full blown KYC before anybody deposits. I want to make it as clean as possible.
This, more than anything, shows the limit to the let's self-regulate idea, right? Even the biggest critic of underage gambling can't bring himself to actually ID his customers up front, because his competitors won't do it, and he says it would ruin his business.
So this dude wants to do it for the long game, but his competitors still all want to be all greedy and only play the short game. I mean, I guess. I guess that's the lesser of the evils. So the goal would then have to become to go around to all these other owners and try to convince them, hey, we all need to come to an agreement of play the long game, to start IDing all these motherfuckers all at once. Do not jump ship and start just accepting money from all these little kids and not ID them.
So maybe the solution isn't with the casinos at all. Maybe it's a good time to talk about the influencers who promote it instead. Because when I learned and asked about people who got into this type of gambling, I wondered, how did they get into it in the first place? Who did they hear about it from? And one thing kept popping up.
One of the primary ways I actually learned was through YouTube. It popped up in my recommended page because I was a big fan of Counter-Strike. I'd play it, in my free time. Some gambling videos popped up and I thought, hey,
Streamers kind of exposed me to that space first.
I saw it online. I saw a bunch of these YouTubers playing it.
Found out CSGO gambling just pretty much through watching people on Twitch and YouTube. Juicy was one of them. I actually remember very vividly. He was this guy that would do all these case openings on different websites and
case
such.
Opening.
He's very much affiliated with them. He had codes and all these things.
I've been surrounded by like Syndicate and like FaZe Clan, for example.
Yep.
I watched my favorite YouTubers.
Right. YouTubers and streamers, of course, are going to be one of the main advertising vectors. It's been that way since 2016.
Yep.
Influencers are the main lifeblood of these casinos. Fast forward 8 years later, it's just different influencers, different casinos making the money than before. But unlike casinos, who we know intuitively are blood-sucking leeches on society, influencers, by contrast, are
blood-sucking leeches on society. And he just stares at you like you guys can finish the sentence.
They're well, we expect more from them.
Oh my god.
Don't get it, but we expect more. So I wanted to confront 3 different
That's so good.
Who do this gambling streaming stuff of different sizes and get their opinions on why they promote this stuff and how they can possibly justify it.
I don't think people should gamble, honestly, on the sites. They shouldn't gamble at all.
Oh, shut up, dude. Explain to me why gambling is bad. You can't do that, idiot.
But I enjoy doing it, so it's what I do. If that makes any sense, I don't know.
No. That part of it makes sense. The part where you want to do it so you continue to do it, that makes sense. But let's say I'm like, I don't think smoking is good for you, but I like smoking. It makes sense that I would smoke. It doesn't make sense that I would get like.
He cannot figure out. He does not know how to explain why gambling is bad. No idea.
Go promote it to get people to smoke.
I definitely understand that perspective too. And I like, it's a very good argument, and it's like you can't really argue against it, right? It's not a good thing, but it's something that I still enjoy doing, and so I'm going to continue to do it.
Is it just too much money? That's an acceptable answer. It's just too much money to turn down.
I'd say in the beginning it probably was too much money. At this point, like it's not about the money for me. It's just I really enjoy doing it.
Well, in the videos,
I just like doing it. Isn't that like the main reason why anybody does anything? I just enjoy it. It gives me pleasure. Really?
Sugarcoat. I don't try to convince people that winning or gambling is a way or a solid option to flip a quick buck. Even in my wins, I preface that this is not a sustainable thing. So it's not something that I necessarily. I don't know. You can watch the video.
So much stuttering, can't explain himself. Ugh, Jesus.
And decide for yourself if it feels like promotion, but that's how I reason it to myself. I don't even
Reasoning, rationalizing, stuttering. This is the most horrible argument I have ever seen.
Use the rewards. I don't advertise it at all. So I don't, the rewards thing, it's more of like I said, I don't advertise it. So I don't feel guilt.
But you do advertise. You get paid to advertise it, right?
Not the reward system. No, I don't
Not the reward system. Everything else, yeah.
mention the rewards.
No. I'm saying CS:GO roll.
Yes.
We're talking about the gambling side.
Yes.
We both know it's not going to be good for people. And then you're kind of saying, well, I don't really promote it. I don't really advertise it. But in a way, if you didn't promote or advertise it, they wouldn't pay you millions of dollars.
Yeah, I watched your Trainwrecks video and you said the same thing. You're like the less dirtier of the dirt bags. So I guess I would call myself that. And ultimately, if you watch the video, you can decide like how less dirty is he really. But yeah, that's my answer.
Most people are going to, unfortunately, gamble with or without certain streamers, right? Obviously, it's intended to be like a McDonald's ad. You see a McDonald's ad, you see a Big Mac, you're going to go, I'm craving a Big Mac.
I mean, yeah, but understandably.
With or without certain streamers, right? Obviously, it's intended to be like a McDonald's ad. You see a McDonald's ad, you see a Big Mac, you're going to go, I'm craving.
This McDonald's ad for a Big Mac is from like 10 or 15 years ago. You know why? It's because the meat patty is slightly bigger than the pickle width. Slightly. Okay? You take a Big Mac from today, the meat patty is about the same size as the pickle width. All right? It is what it is, man. And just look at this. Like, even the angle, it's like the meat patty it is about the same size as the pickle width. It's terrible. Shrinkflation, dude. This looks so unappetizing. This is not a real burger. This is a fake burger. It's a furger.
Craving a Big Mac. So it's the same concept.
You're saying like, oh, I'm just like kind of promoting McDonald's, whatever.
No, it's not. It's not like promoting McDonald's.
Bro, it is so interesting to hear the rationalizations from all these people.
Let's be honest. Gambling is a terrible addiction. My closest friend.
Why is it bad? All these guys are saying gambling is bad, but they can't say why it's bad. They can't.
And as a very, very bad gambling addiction, he'll get paid on, let's say, a Tuesday, and by Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, his whole paycheck is gone for 2 weeks, and then he has no money. And no matter what I do to intervene to help that individual try to hold his money, to help him sit there and self-exclude, he finds ways, because it's an addiction. It's just as bad as any other drug because of that dopamine rush.
Yeah, the answers were part admissions, part rationalizations. They all knew gambling was bad, but they'd stop short of actually doing something about it because they were making money from it.
Like, again, let me hear a reason why gambling is bad. I can get behind excessive gambling is bad. I can get behind, well, because the reason excessive gambling is bad is because, like that guy said, if you take your paycheck that you just got from every 2 weeks and you gamble all the money away, then you have no more money. How are you going to survive? Yeah, no shit. That's bad. Does every gambling instance have to be in the form of your entire 2-week paycheck? No. How about child gambling? Children gambling? Well, that's bad because their brains aren't fully formed. But what about a regular adult, has a job, and just gambles a little bit? Is that bad? They're not gambling their entire paycheck. Maybe they boot up fantasy football, fantasy duel, or whatever the fuck, like little Hard Rock Casino app. They want to put down like $50 or whatever from for their favorite football team winning or whatever, and it's like, oh, I either hit or I don't. Parlay this, parlay that, whatever. I lost. I lost, but I'll get on with my life. Maybe I'll win it back again in the future. How's that bad?
Even when they knew people whose own lives were hurt by it. So if you know the harm firsthand, you've seen it in your own life, how do you justify peddling that drug, as you call it?
It's going to happen, in my opinion, right? And like, there is no justification. Can I say like I'm a drug dealer? Sure, you could. You know, you're gonna label certain streamers are gonna be labeled as a drug dealer, in essence, and that's okay, I guess, if people are going to view it that way. I mean, I want
to know how you view it.
How I feel,
because you said it was kind of like a drug.
Mm-hmm.
It is a drug. I mean, it hits the dopamine levels. Hell, I get hit in dopamine levels if I hit big. And so yeah, you know, and then that becomes a YouTube trick. I feel bad. I do. Right?
No, you don't. You don't feel bad. You're just saying that because you're on camera talking to coffee. You know this is gonna go up on YouTube. You don't feel bad.
I hate to hear when people say I've lost money. I hate it, dude.
No, you don't. Is this like the owner of like some website? No, he loves when people lose his money.
Really, it crushes me because some people legit do it because they're bored and then they lose everything they have. And it is a terrible feeling to hear that, right?
Not to question their sincerity, but I've heard all of them say that they hate when people get addicted. They don't want to see anyone hurt, but they refuse to stop even though they know casinos are run on addicts. Fun fact, Clash.gg, who earlier we had their CEO admitting he was proud of not IDing players, also admitted that the majority of their revenue comes from a tiny fraction of their most addicted players.
Less than 1% of Clash accounts make up for 80% of our revenue. Everyone has gambled at one point or another, and a very, very small portion of develop issues. Calling anyone who enjoys gambling desperate and ruining their lives perpetuates a narrative for people that you can't gamble in a healthy manner. True. If people think they can never gamble healthy, okay, they won't learn and build good habits. So also, Mr. Hobbs, what are the healthy benefits you get from gambling? Explain that to me. Explain the health benefits I get from gambling. You can't. You're a retard. Stupid. And also, this is about the same as any like live service game. All right? It only takes like less than 5%, less than 3%, less than 2% of whales that play a live service game to fund and maintain the live service video game so that the rest of the free-to-play players can enjoy the game for free. So as much as people hate pay to win, as much as people hate, expensive skins, all that shit, yeah, you need to have that because the 1% of people that are buying up every single solitary thing are making that game available for you to play for free by them buying it. That's just a fact of the matter.
Quote, less than 1% of Clash accounts make up 80% of our revenue. It's just an admit.
Yep, less than 1% make up the most 80%. So 99% of people that spend money make up 20% of the revenue. Whales.
From their founder. It's an open secret. So these influencers can empathize about how horrible addiction is, but they know that's where their paycheck comes from. The CEO of Clash has a profile on Twitter that says, never gamble, the house always wins. But ironically, his house is probably from people gambling. The fact of the matter is that these people say with their mouth, I feel terrible, I feel bad. But when it comes to actually changing, they never do. Even when they...
Yes, this is the what was the saying? It's like a saying for like the mouth does one thing, but the hand does another thing. Oh, I forgot what that is.
Directly scam people. They will still find a way to rationalize it. And this next part is pretty dark. But for a moment, we're going to have to go back for a second to the PGL major tournament and talk about the thing I was originally offered a bounty to investigate. A specific casino that is owned by the same group as CSGO Roll, but this one is called Hype Drop. It's owned by Monarch's arch nemesis. Hype Drop was a casino where instead of gambling Counter-Strike skins, you could gamble real-world items, like real-world loot boxes. For example, you could pay for a real loot box that would get you anything from like a
Oh my god, a stream deck, a Lamborghini. Is this Ozempic? No, that's a car. I thought this was Ozempic.
$10 gift card to a Lamborghini, for example.
Lamborghini Hurricane. I don't know how to say that one.
It's just gambling with physical items. But the real secret sauce of this website was a loyalty program called the Daily Case.
Oh, the loyalty program. It's the punch out card for pizza places. Buy 10 pizzas, get your 11th one free.
Where the more you spent, the higher level you got, the more you'd get these daily cases, which essentially were free money. Every single day, you could go on their website and open these daily cases, and theoretically, you'd get free stuff, free money. Which, if that sounds unsustainable, it is. It was all part of a scheme, it turns out, to make the Danish government believe that Hype Drop was not actually gambling.
Oh, shit.
I received a letter
Hype Drop
gave to the Danish regulator, arguing players could not lose money on their site because over time, the daily cases paid back all the losses.
Oh, okay. On March 27, 2023, we received a letter from the Danish Gambling Authority with reference number that regarding the business model of the website hypedrop.com. Users may open these free drops without making any deposits. Okay. If the users continue to claim the tiles on the website, as described above, the prizes that they earn from claiming the tiles would be at least equal to or even higher than their initial stake. Well, their initial stake is 0, and if they keep claiming, that means they'll be in the green. This means that after a period of 3 years, wow, users will have earned a guaranteed profit on the site, and therefore there is no risk of loss to users over time. So it takes 3 years for you to be in the green. The important thing is that the user, as long as they engage with this fucking website for 1,095 days every day, they will be trending to be in the green. Wow, what a loophole. Users either profit on the website and therefore do not incur a loss, or they are negative on the website and therefore will be able to claim the tiles to earn their losses and beyond back. Yeah, just, the 3 years you're in the green, 6 years you'll be double in the green, 9 years you'll be even more in the green.
Over roughly 3 years. This is one of those loopholes we talked about where they're going to argue they're not actually gambling because you can't lose. Now, of course, I asked Hype Drop about this, and initially they denied ever sending this letter.
Is there any gambling storefront in Vegas that does this? You go in, you check out your ID, you get ID'd, and they just give you money. Here's $100, go gamble. Does any one of these gambling places do that? Here's or not even $100. $100 is a lot. Here's $10, go gamble. They just give you money, and you could just do that every day. I don't think so.
Eventually, I showed them that I had their document, and they finally confessed, saying they did do it on one occasion, but denied trying to pass it off as an investment. They then quickly...
Okay, we can confirm that Hype Drop did correspond with the Danish authorities on one occasion. This instance was overlooked in our initial response due to an internal communication failure. However, the focus that the correspondence involved, Hype Drop's non-targeting of the Danish market, We reaffirm that Hype Drop does not promote its services as an investment and has not made such an argument to regulators in any jurisdiction where it operates. This is our last comment.
Scurry away saying, this is our last comment. I bet it.
Okay, so they're not an investment thing. So they're not gambling and they're not investment. So what the fuck are you? You're not are you claiming to be a sweepstakes?
It is because they got caught making bad faith arguments to the Danish government. This type of loophole is why in their promotional material, Hype Drop said things like, yes, you'll always make at least your money back, and quote, we offer return on what you invest through our daily reward system, and quote,
Jesus.
It's a win-win situation every time. Now, it only takes a few moments to realize that offering jackpots and money back to losers isn't gonna work. It has to be a scam, which is why many people like Monarch called this thing an unsustainable Ponzi scheme. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but
it is.
Right. On March 27th, 2024, Killian, the owner, announced that he was shutting down the site, effectively rug pulling his customers, who were all relying on these daily cases to make their losses back. This is part of what Monarch's paid goons were yelling about at the PGL majors. By removing their daily cases, Hype Drop, in my opinion, stole from their users and effectively revealed their legal loophole to be a lie. Now, with that all understood, let's circle back to this guy, Juicy, a gambling streamer who we heard from earlier. He was easily one of the biggest promoters of Hype Drop, and I wanted to know, given that he has widely promoted a scam, what was he gonna do to make things right? So let's...
He'll pay him back eventually, Coffee. Eventually he'll pay him back, just not now.
Let's talk about Hype Drop at this point. This has been kind of...
He will pay them back as soon as Logan Paul pays back all those little pet things, the NFTs back.
What precipitated the PGL majors, according to Monarch. He says, I had to protest Hype Drop. It was a Ponzi scheme that collapsed, and CSGO rolls next. Now, when I was looking up Hype Drop, you were one of the people who was promoting it, like one of the bigger YouTubers I saw, maybe the biggest. Yeah. What's your take on promoting this stuff? Where's your ethical line for what you will take, what you won't take on?
Yeah.
He has no ethical line. He doesn't have one.
So to my understanding, I had never worked with the...
To my understanding, I did it with the assumption that it was going to be a different way. I understood it this way, but it was actually the other way. It was simply a misunderstanding on my part.
Gambling site that had rewards that function like a Ponzi scheme, you know? So when I was playing on it, I'm not promoting the rewards, you know? I'm not like, this is the most rewarding IRL gambling site. So I was just playing with the product itself and, you know, making content around that. So obviously it's really f***ing annoying and bullshit when the rewards get...
They did the rug pull without me. I had no idea.
First off, cut down, and then second off, now there is no reward offering and the site's going away. Like,
I was misled. I had no idea. It was a surprise to you, as much a surprise to you as it was to me.
I'm obviously very upset, not just for my own intent, but also mainly for the people who, especially if people put money into Hype Drop, thinking of it like a good monetary investment versus like I'm just...
But they said they're not an investment business. They're not a gambling business. They're not a sweepstakes. They're not an investment. So what are they?
Gambling, you know? I'm pretty sure from my understanding that wasn't like a advertised thing. At least they weren't advertising. They weren't saying, hey, you got to tell them about this great investment option. I think that was more of a legal loophole that they were, you know, trying to operate.
He's just lying about some of this. He says he didn't advertise his daily cases, but I think he didn't think I'd watch his videos because he definitely did.
Daily reminder, claim your daily cases. They're free monies. Code JUICY will get you 3 free
wow.
cases. So.
What a lying little bitch. What a Weasley little liar, dude.
Might as well. I mean, my daily cases used to pay a filthy amount of money. It was a full-time income just claiming them. Claim this every day, dude, and we're making a full-time salary every month.
Yeah, he calls the daily cases basically a full-time salary. But I thought surely after seeing that Hype Drop scammed people, he would cancel his sponsorship with the same company. Like, it's the sister casino CSGO Roll, right? He has to stop that now that he's scammed his audience. He did cancel it, right? So let me ask you, does that mean you're no longer going to work with CSGO Roll since they're run by the same people?
Well, I've already promoted the site and our.
No, he's gonna still work with him. That's what that means. I could easily tell by the hesitation in his voice. That's the easiest no of his entire life.
We have fans who use the site, and I don't think the reward offering there is gonna change. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate
but I think
that
you
they
can
did that.
see. I think you can see the logic
That wasn't his question. He asked you, "Are you gonna keep working with him?"
No one thought Hype Drop was gonna rug people.
CSGO Roll and its parent company deny daily cases are scams or unsustainable. So it's not a scam, and it's not unsustainable. They can sustain the daily giveaways forever. Full response in the description, and their denial is at the end of the video. Okay.
From these cases, these daily rewards. And if you are regretful, wouldn't that turn into some kind of action on your part to like change who you're working with?
Yeah, I understand that completely, but I feel like Counter-Strike
Oh, what are you gonna feel?
sites aren't there to stay forever in the first place. I don't think anyone's expecting them to stay forever.
So I gotta stay in, and I gotta get my bag while the iron is hot. Strike while the iron's hot. Stay in, and yeah, that's about it.
And there really isn't many great options. So yeah, maybe it's fucked up of me that I continue to do so. Absolutely. But it really is one of the better options on the market right now. And there's
I have no other option. I have no other gambling sponsorships to take when I'm out of Counter-Strike. There's nothing better for me, Coffee. What do you want me to do? I'm just a little old influencer, bro.
ton of dog shit on the market. So yeah.
And there it is.
No other game's economy is healthy enough to house an entire gambling ring. Only CS can do that.
Absolutely, he doesn't want to change. Absolutely, he's not going to stop what he's doing. At the end of the day, past all the rationalizations, that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter what you show them, what you prove to them. They're making too much money. And that is the part that I was struggling to like really get from these people, is they would always say like, I do it for the love of gambling, man. I would do it if nobody paid me. Of course, they always do it getting paid.
Yeah,
this
sure.
is the single biggest cope of gambling streamers.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, even Grim told me this, who we spoke to earlier about getting harassed. Luckily for me, though, his tax records are public. So I knew that he was actually making a few $1 million a year and had a few million reasons to lie about why he was doing what he did. So
Just a couple reasons. Nothing big.
I decided to ask him if maybe the money did play a role. Somebody reached out to me. They said, hey, I found Grim's business. He made $5 million last year. Is that true? And does that undermine what you said about it's not about the money?
Yeah, no, that is true. That's like what's one of the, I guess, the downsides with Norway is everything's public. If they know my company name, even just my name, they Google around, they find it. So like everything that I make is public. And yeah, you could say that the argument is obviously hypocritical because like I made a lot of money, but like I don't do it because I make a lot of money. I'd still do it if I didn't make a lot of money. And like even if I wasn't paid, I would still do it when I had excess money to do it because I like doing it. And it might like sound like a lie, but that's how I started it. And that's how I always wanted to continue.
Yeah. That does sound like a lie.
It sounds like the $5 million might have something to do with it. It just, but
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean,
yeah, no,
I mean, shit, you could pay me $5 million and I'll say I like fucking doing anything for $5 million.
Like I said, I 100% understand what people would think like, oh, no, it's only because of the money. But like, I know myself that it isn't only because of the money, but it's obviously great. Don't get me wrong.
how much did you make this year?
I'd rather not say, but I could say it's a lot.
Come on, Juicy, tell us.
Is it around 5 million, Juicy?
Tell us. Look,
over.
Uh,
So I actually don't know the exact answer myself.
I don't know how much money I'm making. I'm just swimming in my pool of money. I don't know how much money is in the pool. I just swim in it.
But I can tell you it's going to be right around Grimm's number, which I know he told you already.
Grimm's 5 million.
Yeah, and then I got to pay a stupid tax rate on that.
Yeah.
But
stupid tax rate. Those dang tax rates on my $5 million.
Probably around there.
Both made about $5 million last year. So it's kind of obvious why they're not going to stop based on just a moral argument. And I began to wonder, like, how many of these influencers take these deals because they are so profitable? Well, luckily, thanks to the hard work of Jeff, who we mentioned earlier, whose documentary you should definitely go
Top 300 CSGO streams. Holy shit.
watch, I found out it's almost everyone.
This is the top 300 CSGO streamers since the beginning of this year, ranked by watch time. Of 300, 226 are currently sponsored by at least one of them. Some have up to 5. We are looking at 75%.
75%. It's insane. Counter-Strike gambling is basically funding over half of the scene with these ridiculous paychecks. And
Let me see this real quick. Let's go on Twitch right now. Let's go to the counter. Oh, well, let's just go to OniPixel. Let's see what's up with your boy. Oh, come on. I want to load. Reload. Refresh. God damn it. Let's go. Come on. Let's go to...
The winner made under blades is fucking formation.
Let's go to the Counter-Strike. Sort by viewers, high to low. Okay. That's just muted. Great. HLT Vorg. I don't know what this is. Let me see. Are there any... Oh, don't know. Okay, there's nothing. Let's go to Oni. Any gambling? Oh, I don't see anything. Oh, there's the man. Oh, train. Oh, the usual suspect. This is kind of obvious. This is... Be gamble aware. Do not gamble. You will lose. Let's see. What's this guy? Partout. I don't know. I don't know what this is. Skins Monkey. Oh, okay. That's gambling. Is this like part of the one big thing? Yeah. Face It. Okay. Yep. Let me see another one. Oh, they're all watching this little award show. What is this, like Counter-Strike Awards or some bullshit? Who's this guy? I don't speak the... Skin Place. Probably gambling. I have no idea what any of this says. I do not want to click on any of this. Yeah.
began to wonder not about the people who said yes, but the people who said no. They're the minority. I wanted to know, for the people who said no, how much were they offered and why didn't they take it?
This is something I think about a lot, because there have even been moments in time where I've been offered $300,000 for a month of gambling.
Damn.
$5,000 an hour. That could change my life. That could retire my mom.
Yeah.
That could alter my family's lineage.
Yeah, why didn't you do that, dude? You seem like a bonehead for doing that shit.
I keep turning it down. That was when I was an even smaller streamer than now.
Oh, shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
One of the things I've been thinking a lot about is like how to change this, you know, even if Well, look, if what does even change look like, right? That's part of what I'm thinking about. It's like, what does even change look like for this industry? And one thing that I came to is like, the incentives have to change because they're so out of whack. The second you allow gambling sponsorships and streamers to like get sponsorship deals, how are you going to stop someone from taking that amount of money? You're a good person, so you just don't want to do it. That's your personal line. But I think it's hard for just even somebody who's a good person to say no. You know, it's only because you know what it would do to people. But that is such a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, this interview almost ruined.
Bro, $300,000 in a month? In a single month? Bro.
To me on this story. I began to wonder if change was even possible when money like this is in the field for play. Like, the casinos aren't going to regulate themselves because they lose customers and there's so much money at stake. Most influencers aren't going to say no because there's so much money at stake and they could change their life and their family's lives by taking these deals. The more I looked into it, you can't expect all the people to be immune from this influence all at the same time, which is the only way to make change. It wasn't just the influencers or casinos either. Even esports, the most professional, supposedly, side of the game.
You damn right for saying supposedly most professional side of the game. Bro, Counter-Strike is not the face of competitive integrity or peak aim skill for like FPS shooting or shooting in general. It's not.
Was flooded with gambling. Almost every professional team had a gambling sponsor. For example, FaZe's Rollbit, the PGL Major was sponsored by 1xBet, G2 was sponsored by CSGO Roll, and this creates the same problem that it created with the influencers. If a sponsor is offering you buckets of money, it becomes really hard not to take because if you don't take it, your competitor will.
Yep.
In fact, one esports owner argued the entire
STM. Without gambling or Counter-Strike skin trading rolling, the entire Counter-Strike ecosystem would die. Degenerates prop up the scene and are the largest contributor to Counter-Strike esports health. Thank your local crackhead in Twitch chat, friends. It's because of them you're watching your favorite team play.
entire ecosystem in Counter-Strike.
And you know, because of this, it's like, this begs the question, is it like this in real sports too? Are people so unentertained at the demonstration of just pure skill that like they don't care about competitive integrity? They would rather be entertained. I think they would. I mean, that's just what I see. People could give less of a shit about actual competitive integrity. People could give less of a shit about the actual skill that's happening in front of them. People just want to be entertained. That's all they care about. Just entertain me.
Especially in the lower leagues, is basically funded by the gambling industry and gambling addicts. So I called him to understand more of how this works. Can you walk me through how gambling functions in the esports economy?
The issue is that, or the issue, I guess, at hand that you're talking about is that this activity is enabled by more controversial sponsors in gambling and skin rolling sites. If those sponsors weren't permitted, then the tier 2 and beyond scene in CS specifically would likely wither or die, or at the very least constrict to a very large degree. So that's what I meant by my tweet that you should thank your local betting crackhead in Twitch chat. If you're a fan of tier 2 CS and beyond, then the reason you're watching that team play is probably because of that better. To note, this is also true of a lot of orgs' profitability. So the value that traditional sponsors bring in for a tier 2 org, even more, with G2 and Rollbit, for example, the value that a traditional sponsor brings in versus a Gamba sponsor is like 15 or 20% of the value. So you don't really turn that down as an org owner unless you've got very specific moral qualms or disagree with gambling on a personal level.
But does this inflate the economy where if you're not taking a gambling sponsorship, you're almost at a disadvantage because your economics and what you're able to play players and attract talent is much less than somebody who, for
Yep.
example, has a gambling deal and is making way more money than you.
Yep.
Yeah, to a degree, that's true.
It does.
Very, very few organizations are able to do it.
I mean, look at it. Look at it. Look at this, dude. Like, Steam charts CS2 right now. It's the 24-hour peak. Look at this. 1.5 mil. Steam charts. Top 10 games. Wait, how does this make sense? I mean, this current players in the last 30 days. What? It's like nearly double of Dota. 1.1 mil. 600,000, 500,000, 200,000. Bro, Counter-Strike gaps Dota by at least 2x. This is crazy. Crazy numbers.
Without Gamba, largely, if you don't have Gamba, you're almost certainly going to be unprofitable.
You heard it there. You almost can't compete at the highest level without a gambling sponsor because they pay so much more than everyone else. And if everyone else is doing it, they will have more money to spend on a team than you and get better players.
Yep.
And therefore likely beat you.
Yep.
There's just
good players cost a lot of money.
no more profitable sponsor to turn to. And so a lot of people actually take the money. So even if that sponsor is a site that allows minors to play with no ID, who cares? Just slap an 18+ sticker in your ad for them and get plausible deniability. That's what G2 did when announcing their CSGO role sponsorship. A depressing fact about this video is the star of it, a guy named Monesi, turned 18 only days before they announced the sponsorship, which means in the video, it was filmed when he was 17. He was underage in their casino, supposedly 18+, and no one cared.
Damn.
A perfect metaphor for this entire industry. It's all optics. I have to tell you, by the way, the exact day I announced I was investigating Counter-Strike gambling, CSGO Roll did announce for the first time that they were going to be asking all users to prove that they're 18 before playing. Whether
Oh, wait, let me see that. Let me see this week.
CSGO Roll
CSGO. At CSGO Roll, we previously enforced 100% age verification requirement in some jurisdictions while following strict guidelines elsewhere. So some places they follow the rules, in other places they were allowed to be a little relaxed. That's what that means. As part of our commitment to do all that we can to ensure that minors are protected from using our platform, we're taking this one step further by asking that all users to verify their age, prove they're above 18 before playing our games.
did announce for the first time that they were going to be asking all users to prove that they're 18 before playing.
They probably
Whether or
hated
not
doing
it was
that.
coincidence, they announced it same day. I don't know. Take it for what it is. Maybe it's a token gesture. They'll roll back. Or maybe it's a sudden change of heart for the youth. I don't know. Either way, the point I'm making is that for many people and professional teams, the choice to take a gambling sponsorship is like the choice for PEDs in the Olympics or steroids in the WWE. You can say no, but if everyone else is using them and getting ahead, you choosing not to for ethical reasons will get you left behind, and your peers will become more successful than you. It's a
Winners win, losers lose. That's what it is about the end of the day. Bro, if you give that deal to like a regular like construction worker or like anybody that has like a manual labor job, like roofer, a bricklayer or something, or a fucking like cashier person, or like a bus driver, bro, they are taking that deal in a heartbeat. Are you fucking kidding me?
pressing cycle that has me flashing back to the CSGO Wild days several years ago and realizing we're right where we started. CSGO Wild in 2016 was a gambling website secretly owned, slightly disputed, by FaZe Clan. And according to FaZe Banks, his motivation to do that was pretty simple.
Oh boy.
My motivation for doing it actually was at the time we weren't making enough money to buy a CSGO team. FaZe
Banks' mom's basement. This is to try to appeal to their audience that, hey, we're still the guys in living at home in our basements, trying to put together Call of Duty 360 no scope montages. That's us, guys. That's still us. Okay, we're still living in our parents' house. How relatable are we? We're so relatable, guys.
The venture was gonna cost us like $1 million, and we definitely did not have anything close to that. So my brain, like, we gotta finesse it. We gotta figure out how to make the money to buy this team now, because in the next 6 months, year, this team's gonna be worth like $4 or $5 million, and we're not gonna be able to get into this game, which in our heads we need to get in this game.
Yeah, when you hear it, it sounds crazy. It sounds like a cope, but his plan actually worked. FaZe got away with it. FaZe Clan has a Counter-Strike team that won second place in the infamous PGL Major all these years after CSGO Wild. It's a
Damn, that's big business brain right there.
And well, and still funded, by the way, by gambling, just by a different gambling website. Now it's Rollbit. It's reportedly a multi-million-dollar deal. Now look, I know seeing this is all very depressing, but we've actually learned some really valuable things. Firstly, we can't fix this at the individual level of influencers, esports teams, or even casinos.
Nope, we have to go to the tippity top. We have to go to Valve.
Doxing people, harassing them doesn't fix it or the underlying problems. It's a deep systemic problem of incentives. Of course, acknowledging that also doesn't absolve individuals. I wouldn't dare say it's okay for Juicy to do what he does, where people have been scammed and he continues to work with the same parent company. That said, if he stopped, it wouldn't change things suddenly. Someone would take his place. So if we're serious about trying to solve this problem,
You cut off the head of one head of the Hydra, another one appears.
we have to look farther up the food chain than influencers, even than casinos, even than esports leagues. We have to zoom out and see the root cause.
Oh, look. It's a Valve on a building, the big building of Valve. And I wonder, is this supposed to be like somebody's head? Like this is the nose, this is the chin. Is this supposed to be like Gabe? Next time.
Valve definitely does have underage gambling problem. They really don't have an incentive to stop it.
Underage, middle age, overage, however you want to slice it.
I think they have all the responsibility. I mean, you could pass me some of that if you want, but ultimately they're the kingpin, reaping in all of the money, or majority of the money, and there's a reason why they haven't killed it yet. They've possessed the power for all these years, but they allow it to go, and I feel like they do the bare minimum crackdown to allow it to keep operating.
Oh, shit. God damn. The rewards model that we had in place in 2023 allowed the cost of daily freeze to increase beyond a comfortable level due to the rising skin prices. This led our user experience around rewards that were unsustainable and adjustments were necessary. CSGO Rose website and marketing materials clearly state leveling up should not be seen as an investment. I bet it is. Daily frees are prone to change at all times and do not expect that they will stay the same. Damn. Bro, this is like a movie. Oh my God. This is so good. I can't wait for part 3. Oh man. It's just getting better and better, dude. Holy. Okay. This is good stuff, man. Yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one, all right? Later.